Hi, this is Ramona. Welcome to the TurboPurr channel, where we talk about crafts and cats. Today, I'm going to be showing you how to use your ScanNCut to create a blank greeting card template. So let's get started. It's fun to make greeting cards, and I have in the past bought blank greeting cards, which are widely available at craft stores or online. But sometimes it's more convenient to just make them out of cardstock that you have at home and use fun colors to make them. Here are some examples of 5x7 greeting card blanks. I also call these base cards because we use them as a basis for adding embellishments for birthday cards and other greetings. The supplies that I used were the Brother ScanNCut SDX 330D, the mat and accessories that came with it, varied colors of cardstock, and washi tape. I'd like to mention the reason that I use the washi tape is that my mats are quite old and they are not sticky anymore even after having been cleaned. So I use the washi tape at the top and the bottom of the cardstock to help hold it to the mat. It's very important when using washi tape or any other tape on these mats to keep it out of the area at the top of the mat where the computer codes are. Because when you load your mat into the machine, there are squares at the top of the mat that the machine reads in order to recognize the mat, and it's very important that those are not obscured by any tape or anything else. It's also very important to keep any tape that you use out of the area where the rollers are in order to avoid any kind of problems with anything getting stuck in the roller. So it's also important to just keep that area clean on the machine. So let's get started with setting up a template for a blank greeting card. First, select the pattern option in the ScanNCut, and we'll start with creating the fold line for the cardstock. So select Border Patterns and toggle down to dashed lines. There's about 3 different versions of dashed lines in my ScanNCut SDX 330D, and I like to use the one where it has more space in between the dashed lines so that not as many cuts are being made into the paper. The reason for the dash line is to create a nice crisp fold in the paper or in the cardstock, and to still have the cardstock hold together really well so there are not too many perforations in the paper. So the greeting card will be 7 inches tall, and when the card is not folded, it's going to be 10 inches wide. So when it's folded, the finished dimensions of the card will be 5 by 7 inches. When you bring up the dash line and select it in your ScanNCut, it has a height of 0. And here I have touched the plus button on the width and toggled it until I got a width of 7 inches, and then touch set. Notice that on the grid that the dash line has been highlighted in red. This is because I touched to select it, and it shows where it is on the mat. I need to add another pattern, so click Add and Pattern, and we'll be selecting Geometric Patterns, and either the square or the rectangle will work for this because we're going to be creating the outline of the card. And here, in order to change the height and the width disproportionately, I've touched the arrow icon, and you can see that that is now highlighted in blue to show that it's active. And this means that I can change the height and the width separately. If that icon is not highlighted in blue, then it changes proportionally, it changes the dimensions proportionally. So here it gives you control and you can completely customize the size of your object. So I have toggled the height and the width to create 7 by 10 inches. And next we click Set. I want to change the dashed line, but in order to do that, I had to select it. When you bring in objects into your ScanNCut from selecting them in the built-in menus, the objects go into the upper left-hand corner of the mat that's on the screen. So I clicked and dragged the big rectangle into the center of the screen so that I could touch on the dashed line to select it. Next, touch Object Edit and the rotation icon. And when you touch 90 degrees, the dashed line that's highlighted in red goes into a vertical position, and click OK. Next, we still need to combine the dashed line with the rectangle card outline. So we're going to need to again go into Object Edit with everything selected. So you select everything by clicking on the icon on the right. And notice when you touch that icon, it turns blue, and everything on the mat is highlighted in red, meaning that it is all selected. And then touch OK. And when you touch the icons, you need to touch each one to align both vertically and horizontally, and click OK. And now we have the card outline with the dashed line centered, and click OK again. The dashed line and the rectangle need to be grouped, so we need to go back into Object Edit with everything highlighted. And when the icon to group all of the selected patterns is touched, notice that it turns blue. Also notice that the objects on the mat, before there was a red highlighted line for the dash line plus a separate outline for the cardstock, and now there is only one outline once everything was grouped because it's one object now. So you can drag this and it will reposition the card outline with the fold line anywhere you drag it on the mat as a group, as one unit. So here we click OK. And now let's save the design. You have choices about where to save your design. You can use a USB stick and save it to the USB. You can save it to the cloud and edit it in the Canvas workspace later if you would like to do that, or you can save it to the machine. In this example, we'll be saving it to the ScanNCut's memory. And notice that you can't ungroup the pattern after it's been saved. And click OK. And it can take a little while for this to be saved. The file name is automatically generated, and if you've saved lots of files, there is a down button when you pull them from the machine's memory. To find the last one that you saved, you just go to the bottom of the list. So the way that we would retrieve the file that we just saved is to touch Retrieve Data, and then you'll have choices, USB stick or cloud or machine, and you can retrieve your previously saved design. So let's go ahead and make the card. Notice that since the dashed line was created first, that the dashed line is the first thing to be cut. Next, the ScanNCut is cutting the rectangle shape that we created. And it's finished. Here are some examples of finished cards. I used a butterfly design in the SDX 330D to create these versions, various versions of the butterfly. And the green and white striped paper is a decorative paper that I used as a background against a blue base card. I've demonstrated this butterfly drawing in a separate video. And here is another example of a card that I made inspired by my cats. And I'd like to thank you very much for watching. Have lots of fun making cards, and I'd love to hear what you've been making and any ideas or suggestions you have for future videos. Thank you very much.